A Royal Christmas Carol, freely adapted from the novel by Charles Dickens. Additional material by Adam Eggington and David Mitchell. Not that one. Good evening. I am Charles Dickens. Here we are again for another instalment of A Royal Christmas Carol. We are nearly halfway there. Thank Christ! Now, I must inform you that the characters portrayed in this adaptation resembling the royal family are in fact fictitious versions of themselves and should be taken in a light-hearted way. The views expressed are not my own, nor royals, the families, nor even that of the writers and performers. Please note, the material may be offensive to those who are offended, particularly those from a background other than British. So even in fact if you are British. If you do find the offensive material offensive, please stop listening. Now. Right, now the boring, ignorant, pathetic little bastards have left, we shall begin. Stave 3, the second of the free spirits. Awakening in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore, and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together, Prince Philip had no occasion to be told that the bell was again upon the stroke of 3.
Bloody hell! I wonder which dead idiot the Queen Mother is sending me today.
Prince Philip bashed the curtains around him, for he wished to challenge the spirit on the moment of its appearance, and did not wish to be taken by surprise and made nervous, or say boobs and poo. Now, being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing, and consequently, when the bell struck 3 and no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Why do these spirits not arrive at the time they say? I could have read the newspaper, or kicked a Jew.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. To say Prince Philip was pissed off is an understatement. It wasn't till this time, while he was punching his pillow, that he noticed a bright light coming through the cracks of the door.
Bloody hell! If Prince Harry has turned the dining room into a bloody nightclub again, I'll tear him limb from limb.
Prince Philip, without hesitation, headed towards the door to give, whom he thought was Prince Harry, a right royal rollicking. But the moment Prince Philip's hand was on the lock, a strange, northern voice called to him.
Come in, Prince Philip. Come in and know me better, man. Oh, no. Please don't be Harold Wilson. Please don't be Harold Wilson.
Prince Philip entered the room. It was his own room. There was no doubt about that. But it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with red tape, red rosettes and red flags. The crisp leaves of holly, mistletoe and ivy reflected back the light, as if so many little mirrors had been scattered there, and such a mighty blaze of smoke coming from a pipe the man was holding, heaped up on the floor to form a kind of throne, were Yorkshire puddings, parking, lemon tarts, Wensleydale cheese, black pudding, pork pies, steaming bowls of gravy, rhubarb crumble, and gallons upon gallons of Yorkshire tea. In easy state upon this couch there sat a jolly man, glorious to see, who bore a glowing pipe, sat in a dressing gown, watching rugby league, which was magically projected on the wall. Prince Philip came peeping round the door.
Hello, I knew you're Harold Bloody Wilson. My wife, the Queen of England and Wales, was very fond of you in the days, which makes me hate you even more. Now what are you going to show me about Christmas? I am Harold Wilson, the ghost of Christmas presents. Look upon me. Well, I can't really look anywhere else. You're sat on a pile of food, although a cup of tea wouldn't go amiss. You have never seen the likes of me before. Never seen the likes of you? I've seen bloody loads of you. Have never walked forth with the younger members of my family. Meaning, of course, you're the Yorkshireman in England. I know where Yorkshire is, you bloody tit. And no, I haven't walked with Yorkshiremen. I've got my own parks to shoot deer in. I don't need your deals to do that. How many brothers, so to speak, do you have? More than 5 million. 5.3 million to be exact. I read that in a publication 15 years ago and I still remember that today. Oh, you think you're so bloody clever, don't you? Remembering things out of books. 15 years? I think the population would have fluctuated by now. Not that we want any more Yorkshiremen. Oh, I never thought of that. Spirits! Yes? No, I want a spirit. I'm shouting my butler to fetch me a spirit. No one can hear you at this time. Oh, bloody hell. Come on then, let's get on with it. I learnt nothing last night, except how much I despise Christmas. Tonight I expect no difference. Touch my roll. Dirty bugger.
Harold Wilson gave Prince Philip a glare. Prince Philip gave him the finger, and then did as he was told. He knew refusing would only drag out the journey. Yorkshire puddings, parking, lemon tarts, Wensleydale cheese, black pudding, pork pies, steaming bowls of gravy, rhubarb crumble, and gallons upon gallons of Yorkshire tea all vanished instantly. So did the room. They flew over London, from Marble Arch, all down Oxford Road, missing the lights by inches, dodging big-issue ladies, which Prince Philip was trying to hit, Japanese tourists taking photographs of a Father Christmas having sex with an elf, which Prince Philip was trying to hit, flying over Piccadilly Circus, up Shaftesbury Avenue, over Covent Garden, of which Prince Philip shouted at the street entertainers, and was trying to hit, through Trafalgar Square, and ended up at the Houses of Parliament. Harold Wilson, sprinkling his pipe over Parliament.
Is there a particular flavour in what you sprinkle from your pipe? There is, my own. Would it apply to any kind of knobhead in Parliament on this day? Well, to anyone who takes a political speech. The Tories the most. Why the Tories the most? Because the Tories say it the most. You mean speak bullshit. There are some upon this earth of yours who lay claim to know us, and who do their deeds of passion, pride, ill will, hatred, envy, bigotry, selfishness, and sleep with pigs in our political name, who are as strange to us and all our kith and kin as if they had never lied. Remember that, and charge their doing on the Tories, not us. Oh, I do!
Prince Philip promised that he would, regardless of who was in power, and they went on, invisible as they had before, into Hyde Park. It was a remarkable quality of the ghost, which Prince Philip had observed at the Houses of Parliament, that, notwithstanding its gigantic size, he could accommodate himself in any palace with ease, and that he stood beneath a low roof quite as gracefully and like a supernatural creature as it was possible he could have done in any lofty hall. And perhaps it was the pleasure the good spirit had in showing off this power of his, or else it was his own kind, generous, hearty nature, and his sympathy with all men, that led him straight to Prince Philip's grandsons. For there he went, and took Prince Philip with him, holding to his robe, and on the threshold of the door the spirit smiled and stopped to bless Prince William's and the Duchess of Cambridge's dwelling with the sprinklings of his pipe. Prince Philip hated show-offs, so he stuck his finger up at him again and pulled a moony at him. Then up rose Mrs. Cambridge, Cambridge's wife, dressed out in her Alexander McQueen, twice turned but brave in ribbons, while carrying her daughter Charlotte.
Oh, what has ever got your precious father then and your brother, Tiny George?
Just as she questioned this, in came little Willie, the father, who's 6'3", in his regiment's uniform of the Blues and Royals, and Tiny George, upon the shoulder of a butler. Alas for Tiny George, he bore a little foul mouth upon him, influenced greatly by his great-grandfather, Prince Philip.
Why, where's our Prince Philip?
Oh, not coming.
Not coming? Not coming upon Christmas Day? Not even to see little Georgie?
No. He came to church this morning. He ran off saying he needed a poo.
And how did our little Georgie behave?
Well,
I said tits!
And worse. Somehow he gets distracted sitting with his great-grandpapa so much, and thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me, coming home, that he hopes the people saw him in the church because he was a royal, and it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who the better people were. Made lay beggars fall over, and blind men fall over. He was a shit. William's voice was tremulous when he told them this, and trembled more when he said that Tiny George was growing more racist and more vocal about it. His active little natter was heard upon the BBC, and William quickly grabbed and covered Tiny George's mouth before another racist word was spoken. The family sat awaiting at their very long table while their servants served their din-dins. Such a bustle ensued that you might have thought a swan, the rarest of all birds, a feather phenomenon. Oh, it was a swan, and was a matter of course, and in truth, it was. Mrs. Cambridge passed the gravy, ready beforehand in a little boat, pissing hot. Oh, I mean hissing hot. Gerald, the butler, mashed the potatoes with incredible vigour. The Cambridges did love peasant food. The servant, Belinda, sweetened up the apple sauce. The other maid, Martha, dusted the hot plates. William took Tiny George beside him in a tiny corner at the tiny table. At last the dishes were set on, and grace was said. It was succeeded by a breathless pause, as Gerald, looking slowly all along the carving knife, prepared to plunge it into the breast. But when he did, and when the long-expected gush of stuffing issued forth, one murmur of delight arose all around the board, and even Tiny George, still overexcited from the morning with his great-grandpapa, beat one of the servants over the tiny table with the handle of his knife, and feebly cried, "Hurrah!" And so the Cambridges ate up all their din-dins, and then William stood for a speech. A Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
Oh, God bless us.
Which all the family re-echoed, and George restated,
God bless us, everyone, including the wigwags.
John!
Spirits, tell me if Tiny George will, remain racist just like me. I see a vibrant king who is extremely politically correct, even to people on crutches. Always carefully polite. If you don't spend more time with George, and the shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will be popular. No, kind spirit, say he will be racist. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him racist.
Prince Philip was fuming with these words from the spirit. At this time, Mrs. Cambridge left the room. That was for the pudding. In half a minute, Mrs. Cambridge entered, flushed but smiling proudly, with the pudding, like a speckled cannonball, so hard and firm, blazing in half a quadrant of ignited brandy, and belight, with Christmas holly stuck in the top. Oh, a wonderful pudding. This is the greatest success achieved by you since our marriage.
Bloody hell! Did he just say what I thought he just said? Jesus, even I wouldn't say that to the missus. And I've said many stupid things to the missus. Look, even George has run off.
Mrs. Cambridge's face went red. You could see she was about to explode.
I think we'd better leave, Wilson, before we see her kick off. I've seen it before, it's not nice. Yes, I think you're right. We don't want to see domestic violence on Christmas Day. No, we'll save that for EastEnders.
And now, without a word of warning from the ghost, they stood upon a bleak and deserted moor, where monstrous masses of rude stone were cast about, as though it were the burial place of giants, and water spread itself wheresoever it listed, or would have done so but for the frost that held it prisoner. And nothing grew but moss and furze and coarse rank grass. Down in the west, the setting sun had left a streak of fiery red which glared upon the desolation for an instant, like a sullen eye, and frowning lower yet, was lost in the thick gloom of darkest night.
Where the bloody hell is this? Yorkshire. A place where miners live, who labours in the bowels of the earth. But they know me, see, because I sorted out the unions. I thought I'd show you what they do on their Christmas Day. Why? I don't care how they celebrate Christmas, although it does seem that they have very little on their plates. Are there no food banks? Are the homeless shelters still available to the
homeless? The Albies and the Liddles are in full vigour then.
Ah, such wise words, Spirit. You should be a politician.
The Spirit rolled his eyes and knew a lost cause when he saw one, and so took him to the final place. It was a great surprise to Prince Philip, while thus engaged, to hear a hearty laugh. It was a much greater surprise to Prince Philip to recognise it was his own grandson's, and to find himself in a bright, dry, gleaming room, with the Spirit standing smiling by his side, and looking at the same grandson with approving affability. A golden one!
Titter. Oh, bloody hell, the same bloody crapper joke again. I told you every bloody year she says it. Well, I found it quite amusing. You would, you brown-nosed git. Anyway, why am I not shouting at her about how crap the joke was? I think you've gone for a poo. Ah, yes. That is very wise of me. I probably sensed the joke was coming and escaped beforehand. Oh, look, there's Pippa. Ah, she is very pretty. Exceedingly pretty. With a dimpled, surprised-looking capital face, a ripe little mouth that seemed made to be kissed, as no doubt it has. All kinds of good little dots about her chin that melted into one another when she laughed. And the sunniest pair of eyes you have ever seen in any kind of little creature's chest. Altogether, she is what you would call provoking, you know, but satisfactory too. Oh, perfectly satisfactory.
He said that Christmas was a boobs and poo, as I live, and he believed it too. He's a comical old fellow, that's the truth, and not so pleasant as he might be. However, his offences carry their own amusements, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he is very racist. William, at least, you always tell me so,
said Kate, who was now putting on her posh voice as she was in the company of others. What of that, my dear? His racism is no use to him. He don't do any good with it, although he does make himself comfortable with it. He hasn't the satisfaction of thinking that he is ever going to amuse us with it. I don't know, I find it all quite amusing, boo-ha-zee, Kyle, etc.
Spear chocolate! Ah!
Anyway, I think it's time for Grandmama's speech. What do you say, Topper?
Topper? Who the bloody hell is Topper? And why is he eyeing up Pippa? Look at him, the poncy little snot-nosed git. Get rid of him, Spirit. Shh. The speech is about to start. Oh, for Christ's sake, I hate listening to the speech at the best of times. Every year it's worse than the crapper joke. And now it's in 3D, it's like she's in the bloody room.
They all went quiet for the speech. Prince Philip mumbled quite a lot during the speech, and the spirit had to hit him several times to tell him to be silent. This just made Prince Philip more cross.
More feelings of
My
joy
life
and
upon this
goodwill
globe is very
than the
brief.
twinkling lights
It
of a
ends
Christmas
very
tree.
soon. Soon? I die soon.
Popularity of a tree at
Nor,
Christmas is due in
soon,
part
hark,
to
the
my
time is drawing near.
great-great-grandparents, Queen
What are
Victoria
you talking
and
about? That
Elizabeth.
makes no bloody sense.
After this
I
touching
will
picture
die
was published,
soon.
many
For God's
families
sake,
wanted
take
a
me
Christmas
with
tree
you,
of their
please.
own.
I don't
And the
often
custom
beg, but I
soon
can't
spread.
live with another bloody Christmas. Another crapper
wish you
joke
a
will
very
send me
happy
round the
Christmas.
twist.
The bell struck 3:15. Prince Philip looked about him for the ghost, and saw it not. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Queen Mother, and lifting up his eyes beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him.
Oh, shit.